What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today, we're playing some Pokemon trading card game. Now, if you've ever played the Pokemon video games, or if you've even watched the Pokemon show or whatnot, forget literally everything you've ever learned about Pokemon, because at the end of the day, there is correlation between stuff, like they pay homage to the games and the show, but really, the stuff that you learn there is not going to translate precisely to this game. And what I mean by that is if you are thinking on the lines of like evolution per se. So you have a Pidgey, you have a Pidgeotto, and you have a Pidgeot. Well, there will be cards that kind of show that there is an evolution there from being the basic Pidgey, which they'll call basic Pokemon, which are cards that you can play immediately. And then you can evolve it into a Pidgeotto, which is a stage 1, and then a Pidgeot stage 2. Now, this doesn't make any sense right now if you don't know anything about the game, but what I'm saying is, as a Pidgey could be a basic, well, so can a Charizard be a basic in this game, and I will go ahead and explain that. There's a lot to explain about this game, but I want to preface that Pokemon is simple in concept, but it can be as complex as you want to make it. And what I mean by that is, if you want to be very super competitive in Pokemon, then there's a lot of stuff that you probably are going to have to learn. Pokemon's mechanics and the gameplay is very simple, and we're going to go over that in today's video. But in order to be competitively good at a game, this is a general statement, if you want to be really good at a competitive card game, you have to know pretty much what all the cards do and what are the best decks. You know, what's good against what, and Pokemon in general, right, is all about typing. So there are so many different types of Pokemon out there. You know, when I'm saying that, if you don't know Pokemon at all going into this, there's different types of Pokemon. There's water types, fire types, grass types, steel, dark. There were fairy types in the game. Now they are slowly pushing those out. I could just name a bunch of types. I think there's like somewhere between 18, 20 types, if I remember correctly. Whatever. Really, that's pretty much Pokemon. There's a bunch of different types of Pokemon. There's only 3 types of cards. There are Pokemon, trainers, and then there are energy cards. And so what we're gonna do today is so what I have on screen here is the Pokemon trading card game online. This is a desktop app that you can download, and it is also a iOS and Android app that you can download for like tablets. You can't download it on your phone. It doesn't support that, but sure enough, just download this guy, and you can actually, as you can see on screen here, there's a tutorial, which I'm going to teach you what you need to do, but at the end of the day, if there's still stuff you don't know, they've got a really great tutorial here to teach you how to play this game. Also, worthy to note, if you're watching this 2 years in the future, there might have been some rule changes that have occurred since the recording of this video. This is a card game in which every single quarter a new set gets released. So what Pokemon likes to do is every single year they'll have this thing called a rotation, and if you're playing competitively, that's really important to you, because cards that are in a certain card pool are only legal determined by Pokemon. So they have a standard format and they have an expanded format. They also have a legacy format, which isn't supported. It's just kind of there. Legacy is everything that you remember from base set, that Charizard that's like $20,000 right now if it's like in pristine condition. So sorry guys if you didn't keep your Charizards nice and clean. That was a pretty good investment if you did. I stupidly sold all of my Pokemon cards to get a Nintendo DS. Foolish 10-year-old me back in the day. But with enough crying out of the way, Legacy is all the old cards to what is currently new right now, okay? And then there's the expanded format, which is like the past 40 sets or something like that to what's new right now. And then standard is basically the thing that's always kind of rotating. Expanded rarely rotates. I don't think expanded's rotated since the recording of this video, probably over like 6, 7, maybe 8 years ago there was a change. There are bans that happen. That's rare. There's bans that happen, and there are erratas that happen, which is also kind of rare. So that's a plus, right? Because they're kind of quality checking a lot. And then the standard rotation happens every single year, and it's basically the newest like 10 sets, I want to say, because the set's being released every single year, or there's every single quarter, so 4 sets a year are coming out. So they're pushing out sets as the years go by. So with enough rambling, that is kind of how this works. And why I wanted to say all that is because, you know, maybe a year or two later, the rules will be completely different. They might add a new mechanic that's actually not in the game right now. They like to do a new gimmick every single year. Last year it was tag team GXs. The year before that it was GXs. This year it's Pokemon V, Sword and Shield and whatnot. But yeah, so there'll be new stuff. At the end of the day, this is going to be a really handy resource for you. It's going to tell you like all the new stuff when updates actually happen. But yeah, without me rambling any much longer, let's go ahead and take a look at what a Pokemon deck looks like. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to go to Deck Manager. I actually haven't fired this thing up for like over a year. Let's see. So there's a bunch of different stuff in here. If you haven't played, if this is your first time, you won't have any decks in here. But let's go ahead and go over to my theme decks, which I think is this tab right here. Let's open, this is my newest theme deck. It's pretty old actually. So let's go ahead and open this guy up. All right, folks, I actually have no idea what happened. There must have been an update. I don't know. Usually you're able to like bring up the entire deck like in a full screen. But I don't know. I don't know what happened to that. So we're just gonna look at it like this, okay? So a Pokemon deck has to be 60 cards, no more and no less. So when you're constructing your deck, that is one of your limitations. You have to have 60 cards in your deck. Also, another limitation is you can't have more than 4 of the same card unless it's an energy card. So as I said earlier, there are 3 types of cards. There are Pokemon, Trainer, and Energy cards. And then when we go to Trainer and Pokemon and Energy, actually, there's different subtypes of Energy Pokemon and Trainers, which we'll talk about. But there's only 3 major types, okay? Pokemon, Trainer, Energy. Cool, we got it. So for example, if I had 4 copies of, in this deck, for example, there are only 3 copies of this Blitzel. I can technically have 1 more Blitzel. Now, another thing is, what I meant to say, and I don't think I said it, is 3, or you can't have more of the same card name. So, I don't know if there's an example in this deck here. It doesn't look like it, actually. So, if there was a Pokemon likes to print multiple different versions of Pokemon that can be legal in the same format. So if I had another Blitzel, which there is another different Blitzel that's legal, I could only have 4 Blitzels. So if I wanted to have 2 of this Blitzel as an example and then 2 of the other, that'd be fine. But I couldn't have 3 of this Blitzel and then 2 of the other one. I could have 1 of the other one, but again, you can only have 4 maximum of the same named card. So there you go. Taking a look at this card, okay? We are going to go over a few basic symbology stuff. So basic Pokemon, or Pokemon that you can play straight from your hand onto your bench. And they are also Pokemon that can start in your active spot, which we'll talk about. Bench and active spot doesn't make any sense right now, but I'm preluding here. The basic, this is that symbol that you're always going to refer to when in doubt. Can I play this immediately? And for the most part, you can on your turn. The name of the card is important because that is what we just talked about. You can't have more than 4 of the same card. So that's important. HP is your health. So as you guys are doing damage to each other, Pokemon, by the way, is a 1v1 game. It is not 2v2. There are ways to play it, but that's unofficial. Pokemon is a 1 versus 1 2-player game. So your opponent will be doing damage to you with their attacks. So you see Blitzel has 2 attacks. It has Flop for does 10 damage, and it only requires 1 lightning energy. That's what that little yellow symbol there means. And then it has Zap Kick, which does 20 damage and has a cost of 1 lightning energy. And that white symbol is colorless, and it means it could be any type of energy, which is kind of nice if you want to mingle different types of energy in a deck. You also have different things at the bottom here which are important. You have a weakness, a resistance, and a retreat cost. And the weakness, basically, if you're going against, this is a weakness of fighting type, and you'll learn the names of all these different types. The nomenclature is not important. If you just even look at the colors, it's all color coded. So if someone's fighting, if your opponent has a fighting type Pokemon against this Blitzel here, it's going to be doing double the damage that it would be doing. So if it was hitting you for 20, it'd be hitting you for 40, right? Resistance, so if you are going against a steel type Pokemon, you would have a resistance of 20 damage. So if they were hitting you for 20, well, guess what? They're hitting you for nothing. You guys are catching on, I can tell. And then the retreat cost is always going to be colorless energy. I don't think I've ever seen a retreat cost that's not colorless energy. So basically any energy, but it requires 1 energy of any type to retreat from the active spot. We'll talk about active spot, we'll talk about all that stuff, but retreat cost is 1. And then also in this corner here, this is information for if you're going to be competitive. This symbol shows what set the card is from. Excuse me. And then it tells you what number. So this is 81 out of 214. So that's just the card information from the set. Then it has a little bit of like information, like cool little Pokédex entry or something like that. But yeah, so I think I skipped over this. This means it's a lightning type Pokemon, and the color also kind of gives that away. And then the HP is 70. So yeah, that's pretty much it. You can kind of take a look at all the cards, and they all have the same thing. So, but there are some stuff here. So that was a basic. Let's go and take a look at its evolution, which is Substrika, which is a stage 1. And you can see here, there's a little bit of a difference. So this isn't a basic Pokemon, which means you could not play it down right onto your bench, unless there's a special card that says you can. So, you know, Pokemon's really great in the fact that if you just read the cards, as soon as you know all the nomenclature about like the basics, just this stuff's pretty simple. You just read the card and it literally tells you what to do. So without even, knowing what an ability is, I haven't even explained what an ability is, just reading this says once during your turn, so you can only use it once before you attack. So I haven't explained what happens before and after your turn, but before you attack is basically before your turn is over. You may discard your entire hand and then draw 4 cards. Pretty simple, right? I haven't explained the deck. I haven't really explained how drawing cards works yet, but it tells you what it does. And then you already know what attacks do. To do 60 damage, you would need a lightning energy and a colorless energy attached to this Substrika, and it would do 60 damage. Okay, it's got a weakness, resistance, retreat cost. It's actually exactly the same as the Blitzel that we saw earlier. You can see there's a buff in HP. It went from 70 HP to 110. Still lightning type, and you can see it's stage 1 and it evolves from Blitzel. So basically what would happen is after Blitzel has been down for an entire turn, so once it's been down 1 full turn, it comes back to you. It's eligible to be evolved into Substrika. So then you would take Substrika, put it exactly face down, or not face down, you put it right on top of the Blitzel, and you have a Substrika now. So that is how evolution works. Abilities, they're either like passive that just happen, or you have to activate them. That was one that you had to activate. You'd have to say, I'm going to use sprint, discard your hand, draw 4. Let's see. This is a stage 2, so we see that Mareep is a basic, has to be down for 1 full turn, and then you can evolve into Flaffy because it evolves from the Mareep, so it's a stage 1. And then after Flaffy's been down for a full turn, then you can evolve into Ampharos. So usually when you have to take a bunch of turns to get something out, the payoff should be, if you're taking a look at how good cards are, usually they should be worth the payoff. So this ability says, once during your turn, you may put 2 lightning energy cards from your hand into the Lost Zone. If you do, your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. So we haven't even talked about status conditions, but being paralyzed is a status condition, which basically prevents them from pretty much doing nothing for their entire turn unless they have a card that lets them get out of paralysis. But and the Lost Zone is just, it's not actually used right now in the current format, but the Lost Zone has been, brought back into the game a couple of times, and it's basically an area which if cards go there, you'll never get them back for the entire game. So that's that. It has attack. You guys got it. You guys understand Pokemon at this point. That's pretty much Pokemon. That's all there is about Pokemon. We already covered one type. We pretty much have already covered energy as well. Energy doesn't have any text on it. It is just basic energy, I should say. This is a basic energy. During your turn, you can attach 1 energy per turn. So, you just take that lightning energy and slap it onto one of these boys. So there are basic energy and there are special energy. Some special energy have text on them, which is important, but it's the same thing. If you're going to attach a special energy, that's your 1 attachment per turn. Same with basic. You only get 1 attachment per turn, unless there's a special ability or card that you play that says otherwise. Okay, so that's energy, that's Pokemon. Let's take a look at trainers. So there are kind of 3 types of trainers, I believe. There are item cards, which they say in the top right here, item. And trainer's always going to be in the top left, the name of the trainer, and then the text. And the text, so trainer cards are going to have a lot of text on them. They all do different things. These are the kind of things that it's going to take more understanding. So, and there's going to be text on here that you don't even know yet because we haven't even talked about the game and how it functions really yet. So there's a bunch of stuff here. So there's items, there's supporters, which are people in the game. So that you see this as a supporter. And also make sure you read the cards, because at the very bottom it says you may only play 1 supporter card during your turn before you attack. So this is a limitation. Item cards don't have that limitation. If you go back to one of these items here, it says you may play as many item cards as you like during your turn. So there you go. You can play as many items as you want. You can only play 1 supporter per turn. You can only attach 1 energy per turn. And it doesn't look like there's a stadium card in this theme deck. I didn't mention that. This is a theme deck. I'm not sure if I did mention that. This is a pre-constructed deck. You can actually go into your local Target or something, and for $12, you can buy this physical deck, and then it'll give you a little code card, and you can just plop this into Pokemon Trading Card Game Online, and it's all right here for you, and you can play with this deck. So I would suggest getting one of those because it's a really great way to integrate yourself into the game and kind of learn the deck and the cards and whatnot. And it's good stuff. You also get a deck box, some cards. I guess there's no card sleeves for this one. You get a coin. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's go ahead and talk about how the game works. We're gonna go right into like a themed match or something. Let's see, what are we gonna do here? Maybe I don't want to go against somebody online because then there's a clock, and I want to be able to explain stuff to you. So if we were to go to versus, there would be a clock, and I don't want to have to deal with that. So what is the trainer challenge? There is a way to do Select a league and opponent. Okay, this will be fine then. Okay, let's go ahead and take that deck that we were looking at, Stormcaller. We'll go against this guy. And let's learn how to play Pokemon, the trading card game. So, also a little bit about me. I've been playing this game for pretty much ever, as long as I can remember. I did qualify for Worlds last year in 2019, and I placed decently well, 87. So, not the best, but also not the worst. I did pretty well. So, I know a thing or two about Pokemon. So, alright, here we go. Learning the game. Okay, once you... Also, there's a lot of shuffling in Pokemon, so if you don't like shuffling, I'm sorry. But that's why you sleeve your cards, because it's really easy to shuffle when your cards are sleeved. So, but in the trading card game online, you don't need to worry about shuffling. They do that all for you. So, my opponent has their 60 card deck. I have my 60 card deck. You flip a coin to see who goes first, and we didn't do that here. But you're supposed to flip a coin, see who goes first. Whoever wins the coin flip gets to determine whether they want to go first or second. There are limitations to be going first and second. Currently, the rules are if you go first, you are only able to play Pokemon down, play an energy, but you cannot play... You can play item cards, but you can't play a supporter for your first turn, or if you're going first. Second player, and you also can't attack going first. Second player can attack, they can play a supporter, and they can do everything that the player going first was able to do. So, but for setup wise, we're setting up right now. So we shuffle the deck. Each player shuffles their deck. Then each player will draw 7 cards, and you can see that my opponent has 7 cards, I have 7 cards, and fortunately for us, we have 4 basics in our hand, and that's why it's showing us these green outlines here, because these are valid targets because we need a basic Pokemon to put into our active spot. So this is the active spot here for us. This is the active spot for our opponent here. This is our opponent's bench. This is our bench. This is our deck. This is our opponent's deck. Deck box, whatever. GX markers, so bigger, fancier cards there's bigger, fancier cards that are GX Pokemon that have a GX move, and you can only use it once per game. Those are the highly competitive decks that use GX cards, so you're not going to see that here, but that's something I should note. These are our coins, and that's pretty much just everything that's on the table so far. So we have to find a basic to put down in our active spot. I'm going to choose one of these Mareep because we have 3 of them. We're going to go and put that. And our opponent can't see it yet because it's face down, and that's how you do it, play in real life. You put it face down in the active spot. And now we can also choose to place up to 5. So the whole time you can only have 5 Pokemon on your bench unless there's a card that says otherwise. There are abilities, and there are stadium cards that let you have a bigger bench. But the main rule is you can only have 5 Pokemon on your bench. So we could put 3 here and have 2 empty slots for later. But yeah, I think I'm going to put down this Blitzel, and I'm going to put down another Mareep. There's no need to put down the 3rd Mareep. We could, but I'm not going to. And right now our hand looks really, really bad. We don't have really anything to do. So our opponent's going first, apparently. After we each put down a basic, we flip over all of our cards that we put down in our active and on our bench. And then we then take 6 cards from the top of our deck without looking at them and put them over to the other side. So you can see here, opponent has 6 prize cards, we have 6 prize cards. And that is important because there are 3 ways you win the game. Taking all 6 of your prize cards, and prize cards are taken after you knock out a Pokemon. So we already talked about HP and damage. So this guy, this Lickitung, has 90 HP. If we were able to, so we only have a Mareep that does 10 damage right now. That would take 9 turns basically because he has 90 HP. That would take a long time, and that's not going to happen. This guy's going to be doing 50 damage, but it says flip a coin if Tails' attack does nothing. So he's going all in on this lunge attack for 3 energy. But it also evolves into another Pokemon, which will probably be able to do other better things. But okay, so going back to how you can win the game. You win the game by taking all 6 of your prize cards. You win the game by making your opponent, or knocking out your opponent's Pokemon. Sorry, let me slow down, go back for a second. Another way you win the game is if you knock out your opponent's Pokemon and they have nothing to promote. Like right now, if we were able to knock out this 𝐓𝐻𝐻𝐿 somehow and this turn, then we would automatically win because our opponent has nothing on their bench. You need to have Pokemon on your bench in order to promote after your opponent knocks it out, which is important in the opening turns if you're going first, making sure you have a benched Pokemon, because there might be a way that your opponent can knock out your active Pokemon and you just lose because you have nothing to promote. So that is what is called, in terminology wise, that is called a donk, what they call a donk. So you don't want to get donked. It feels really bad, really, really bad. So that's 2 ways to win. The third way to win a game of Pokemon is if your opponent has no way to draw a card at the start of their turn. Sorry. So how a turn works is you draw a card from the top of your deck. You play as many cards as you can, or as you want, I should say. And then your turn ends as you say pass turn, or I end my turn, or if you attack. Once you attack, your turn's over as well. The damage and everything, the effects will go through, and then your turn will be over. So that is how that works. So if you have a deck, for example, that's focused around mill, which is a term used for discarding cards from the top of their deck, a mill deck main goal to win is to make sure that your opponent doesn't have any cards to draw at the start of their turn so that you win the game. So yeah, that is the third and final way to win a game of Pokemon, is if they have no cards to draw at the start of their turn. So that is all ways to win the game. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we got here. So they attached an energy. It was a fairy energy to their 𝐓𝐻𝐻𝐿, and they have 3 colorless, so they can put any energy on this 𝐓𝐓𝐿 and the attack would work. They have a weakness of fighting. They have a retreat cost of 3, so he's a big boy to retreat. If you want to retreat a Pokemon, for example, like we were talking about, this is your active spot. If you want to retreat him into something on your bench, then you would have to have the retreat cost energy, which is 1 in this case. So that means there'd have to be a lightning energy on him. You would retreat it. It would go to the discard pile. This is your discard pile here. And you would go into one of these new ones. There are status conditions like sleep, paralysis, poison, confusion, and burn. I think there might be another one that I'm not thinking of, but some of those won't let you be able to retreat, like paralysis and asleep. You won't be able to retreat unless you have a special card or ability that says you can retreat under those special conditions. Again, I'm sorry, this is a lot of information, but again, I'm trying to simplify it as much as possible. The gameplay is super simple, okay? So we drew a card for the start of our turn. That's the first step to your turn, and look at what we got. We got something nice. We got a supporter. Remember, we can play a supporter because we went second, and it is 𝐡𝐢𝐼𝐲, which says we get to choose one of these things. Shuffle your hand into your deck, then draw 5 cards, or we could switch our active Pokemon with one of our bench Pokemon. So this would actually get around a special condition. So if this 𝐓𝐻𝐻𝐿 somehow paralyzed this Mareep, then we could use this 𝐡𝐢𝐼𝐲 to switch out of the active. See, these cards override those special condition preventions. I don't know. I'm trying to think of the word here. But we're not paralyzed. We don't need to retreat for whatever reason. I'm going to go ahead, but we can actually paralyze this 𝐓𝐻𝐻𝐿 here, because this Mareep says Thundershock does 10 damage, and it says flip a coin if heads, your opponent's Pokemon is now paralyzed. Sounds pretty nice, and it looks like it's going to take a couple more turns for this 𝐓𝐻𝐻𝐿 to fully put energy onto that attack. So I'm feeling pretty safe. I'm going to go ahead and attach an energy, my 1 energy attachment per turn, or for the turn to this Mareep here. And I'm going to use my one supporter for turn to shuffle the hand into the deck and then draw 5. I don't think we need to put the Mareep down on the bench. I'm totally fine not doing that. So we get a Frou-Frou, a Poipole, and an Escape Rope. Escape Rope says each player switches their active Pokemon with one of their bench Pokemon. Your opponent switches first. If that player does not have a bench Pokemon, then that player doesn't switch the Pokemon, obviously, because there's no Pokemon on the bench. So if we were to play this, opponent wouldn't do anything because they don't have any bench Pokemon, but we would switch the Mareep with one of our bench Pokemon. Don't want to do that either, so don't need to play it. I'm going to put this Poipole down. It is a Psychic type, but it has 2 colorless attacks. See, it has Eye Opener for a colorless, so any energy, and then Peck for 20 damage, any energy, 2 of them. Got another colorless Pokemon over here. You may draw cards until you have 5 cards into your hand. It only takes 1 energy for that and does 20 damage, so pretty nice. But we're looking pretty bad for our next turn, guys. We only have an Escape Rope and 2 energy. We don't really have anything. If worst comes to worst, we can switch into our Frou-Frou and draw until we have 5 cards. So it's very important, Pokemon, to draw cards. You will find that very prevalent. So now our turn will be over unless we say end turn or we attack. So we're going to go ahead and attack. We want to do some damage. We want to paralyze this Lickitung. Let's go ahead and do Thunder Shock here for 10 damage. Flip a coin. Will we get heads? We get heads, and as you can see, paralysis is in effect. That means that they can't attack or retreat. Our opponent's moving pretty fast. They know what they're doing because they are a computer. And what they did was they just attached an energy. They benched this Pidove here, which has Homing Pidove for 1 energy. Look at the top card of your deck. Then you may shuffle your deck if you don't like it, I guess. And then 2 colorless energy. Gust for 20 damage, has 60 HP, blah, blah, blah. It has a weakness to lightning. So if we're doing 30 damage to this Pidove, we will knock it out, right? Because it doubles the damage. Damage only happens between 2 active Pokemon unless there's something that says do damage to the bench. Always read the cards, guys. It'll say that if that's the case. So, yeah, so this thing's almost doing 50 damage. I'm kind of scared about it. We could just go into Frou-Frou by doing Escape Rope here and then doing that. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and do that. We're going to go ahead and Escape Rope. Remember, Escape Rope forces them to switch if they only have a bench. And then we're going to bring our Frou-Frou up. We're going to attach an energy there, and then we're going to go ahead and do 20 damage. You may draw until you have 5 cards in hand, which we're going to do. We need more cards. Yes, please give me my 5 cards, because it says you may. You don't need to. If it says, if it just says draw 5 cards, you are forced to do that. Okay, he's going to attach an energy. Homing Pidove, look at the top card of your deck. Then you may shuffle your deck. That is exactly what he just did. Didn't like that top card, so he shuffled the deck. Now we've got stuff to do. We've got a Nest Ball, and we have a Timer Ball. These are item cards. They're not supporters, so we can play as many items as we want on our turn. Nest Ball says search your deck for a basic Pokemon, put it onto your bench, then shuffle your deck. Let's go ahead and do that. So searching your deck is really important because the first time you search your deck, you're able to pretty much see what is in your deck and know what is in your prize cards. It's very important. Once you get to that competitive level of knowing exactly what is in your 60 card deck, you can determine, okay, what is missing from this deck and what is in those prize cards, because they're face down. You don't know what's in your prize cards. You don't know exactly where those cards that are missing from your deck are in your prize cards, unless you have a special technique like this Poipole, for example, that says, look at your face down prize cards. There you go. Now you're starting to see what this is all about. Okay, when you do your first deck search, you have a minute or some, I think it's like 1 minute and 30 seconds to do a full, like, comprehensive deck search. And then once you search your deck again, you only have like 15 seconds or something like that. So really important to take a look and see what you have in your deck. Looks like, you know, all of our Pokemon are pretty much here. I don't see anything that's kind of missing. This isn't a competitive game. I'm just trying to teach you guys. So Nest Ball lets us search for a basic. So it's putting all these valid choices at the top here for us. The computer's being very nice at doing that. And you can see all these are basic Pokemon that we can choose. I'm going to go ahead and put Raikou on the bench because he's a cool guy. He's a hollow too, look at him, that's really nice and shiny. He has an attack for a lightning and a colorless energy that says if you have any lightning energy cards in your Lost Zone, this attack will do 90 more damage, but it does a base damage of 30. So you see that 30 plus? Well, it can do that more damage if we have any lightning energy in the Lost Zone, which we have a way of doing with our 𝐓𝐻. So it's a theme deck, it's built to do a specific theme, some sort of gimmick or strategy. The 𝐓𝐻 has an ability that says once during your turn, you may put 2 lightning energy cards from your hand into the Lost Zone. If you do, your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. Pretty nasty. So we want to get this guy out so we can start putting lightning energy in the Lost Zone so we can have Raikou start doing lots of damage. Pretty self-explanatory. Okay, so we also have a timer ball which we're going to fire off. This timer ball says flip 2 coins. For each head, search your deck for an evolution Pokemon, then shuffle your deck. So every time you look in your deck, you have to shuffle it. You have to randomize it. So go ahead and timer ball. We get 2 tails. That's very unfortunate because that's really, really sucky, actually, because we could have gotten evolution for Blitzel, which you remember lets us discard our hand and draw 4 new cards, which is kind of unfortunate. So I'm going to go ahead and attach to Raikou here, but we have this Frou-Frou, so we're able to just draw some more cards here. We're going to be able to draw 2 more. And we can just get another Lightning Energy and Rescue Stretcher, which Rescue Stretcher lets us put a Pokemon from the discard pile into our hand or shuffle 3 Pokemon from the discard pile. We get an Ultra Ball, which is awesome. It says discard 2 cards from your hand. If you do, search your deck for a Pokemon, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. So we're going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to get rid of this 𝐓𝐻 and the Lightning Energy. Why am I doing these targets? Because I have a Rescue Stretcher here that lets me shuffle this 𝐓𝐻 back in the deck. Because we are going to go for the Zebstrika, which lets us discard the hand. But before we discard our hand, we want to shuffle that 𝐓𝐻 back in the deck. So we can put a Pokemon from our discard pile into our hand. That won't make much sense because we're just going to discard it anyways. Or we'll shuffle it back into the deck. So let's go ahead and shuffle. Choose. There was only 1 target. You'd have to choose more than 1 if there was more than 1 Pokemon in the discard pile. We're going to go ahead and attach an energy here. I'm going to evolve because the Blitzel was down for 1 full turn, so this is valid. And now we are going to use Sprint. So once during your turn, before you attack, you may discard your hand and draw 4 cards. Let's go ahead and discard that Lightning Energy, draw 4 new cards. Now we're cooking, folks. Now we're cooking. So now we got 3 supporters we can do here. Pokemon Fan Club, search your deck for 2 basic Pokemon, reveal them, put them into your hand. We don't need any more basics right now. We don't want that. We don't need that. Howl lets us draw 3 cards. And then Professor Kukui, draw 2 cards. Draw 2 cards, then during your turn, your Pokemon's attacks do 20 more damage. We're already going to knock this thing out with Frou-Frou's attack. Don't really need it. Let's just draw 3 cards. Sounds good to me. Look at that. We've got our Flaffy, so we can evolve here. Now all we need is that 𝐓𝐻. So I'm just going to click return. We're not going to be able to draw cards because we already have 5 cards in hand, so we're not even going to get a choice. But we have knocked out a Pokemon, so we're going to take our first prize card. Doesn't matter which one you take, just take a prize card. Look at that. Definitely need the Lightning Energy, right? So, opponent's going to promote the Pidove, because if they didn't have anything to promote, we would have just won right there. Our opponent's just playing a bunch of item cards right now. You know, you're always able to look in your opponent's discard pile. It's public knowledge. So they played a Trainer's Mail, an Acrobike. These all do things. You just read them. You'll find out what they do. Alright, so we want to get our 𝐓𝐻 so we can put energy in the discard pile. I'm just going to fire off a Kukui here for 20 extra damage. Shoot, I really don't want to discard the whole hand here, but I feel like that's just what we're going to have to do. Remember, we have 20 lightning energy in the deck, so there's 2 in the discard pile right now. We have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's 10 more energy. We have 25 cards in deck. I'm not too worried about discarding all this energy. But we are running out of cards, right? We don't want to deck out. We don't want to be able to just give our opponent the game because we don't have a card to draw at the beginning of our turn. Always got to be wary of that. But I think we're okay. I think we're just going to attach an energy to this Flaffy here. and we'll go ahead and just sprint away. Yep, I know we're going to have fewer cards in hand by doing this, but I want to get to that Ampharos so we can start doing major damage. So, didn't get it, but we did get this Naganadel, which is a really awesome card. We're going to evolve from the Poipole. As you can see, it says evolves from Poipole. It is 130 HP Psychic type Pokemon, and it has the ability Charging Up. Once during your turn, before you attack, you may attach a basic energy from your discard pile to this Pokemon. We just discarded a ton of lightning energy, so that'll be great. And then has a 3 colorless attack, Turning Point for 80 base damage, and if you have exactly 3 prize cards remaining, this attack will do 80 more. So on that 3 prize turn, it'll be doing 160 damage, so we'll just remember that. So let's go ahead and Charging Up. So that was our, you can only do that once, because it says you can only do that once. And remember, we played Professor Kukui, so we're doing 20 more damage, and because this guy's weak to lightning, we are able to knock it out somehow. Let's go ahead and just retreat into... Okay, retreating switches your active Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. To retreat, you must discard energy from the retreating Pokemon equal to its retreat cost. We already knew that. So we're going to see it has 1 retreat. We have 1 energy on there. Let's retreat into the Raikou. Raichu does 30 damage. We're not going to get that 90 damage, but it should be fine because it is weakness. And so it would have done 30 plus 20 damage from the Kukui. So it's 50 times 2 because of weakness, so 100 damage. That's why it showed 100 damage there. Let's take another prize card. Get a Nest Ball. It's not going to work. You can't play cards if they're not going to do anything. So we have our bench completely full, so this Nest Ball that lets us search our deck for a basic Pokemon and put it onto the bench will not work. Okay, so we have 2 supporters here. Shuffle your hand in your deck, then draw a card for each card in your opponent's hand. So we would be getting less cards than what we already have, but we might do that anyways because we don't have anything else to play. And then Lady is a supporter that says search your deck for up to 4 basic energy cards, reveal them, put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck. Yeah, we don't need energy cards either. So we're going to go ahead and Charging Up before we forget. We're going to do that. And I think we're just going to throw out this Copycat for our supporter for the turn. Yes, I know we will get fewer cards in hand. That's what I already explained. And still nothing. Absolutely nothing. But we don't care about these cards. Let's sprint, and we'll draw 4 new ones. And still no Ampharos. Still no Ampharos. That stinks. That's okay, though. Remember, we're going to be doing 160 damage with this Naganadel. I don't want to attach to it because the Charging Up will take care of the energy attachments for us. So as you've noticed, I'm only able to attach 1 energy per turn, but this Naganadel has an ability that lets you get another energy attached per turn. It's pretty sweet. We have a lot of energy on the board. Since I'm going to I don't have to attach an energy, but I'm going to. Let's go ahead and attach it here. And I guess we'll just go ahead and fire off this Lost Voltage for 30 damage. Not much damage, but it is 50 away from the knockout. There is a Bidoof over here getting powered up. It's really nothing too much to worry about. Hey, there's the Ampharos, a little late to the party, but he's here nonetheless. I'm going to go ahead. I actually can't use Unseen Flash because I need to have 2 lightning energy, but we have Lady here in hand to just get us our, wait, why did it flip a coin? Oh, that wasn't Lady. What did I play? I thought that was Lady. Oh, it was Kahili. Draw 2 cards, then flip a coin. If heads, if you played Kahili from your hand, put this card into your hand instead of your discard pile. If you have no cards in your deck, you can't play this card. Oh, yeah, guys. I don't know why I thought that was Lady. They look completely different. We got the lightning energy anyways. We got super lucky there. Let's go ahead and Charging Up before we forget. Let's go ahead and use Unseen Flash to take 2 energy and put them into the Lost Zone. You'll see they'll probably go up here. Yep. Paralyzed, doesn't matter, but now our Lost Voltage is doing the big O damage. It's going to be doing 120. We did over 90 damage, that's fine. All you have to do, or 90 HP, all you have to do is get over that HP and you knocked it out. now we're on 3. We're at the halfway point for taking prize cards, which is great. Our opponent is going to put down another Pokemon. I was going to say, we probably won't need to take all of our prizes if this is the only Pokemon that's there. Now I think we're just going to snowball away. And I kind of want to, you know, in like any other game, I probably would just sit here and just do Lost Voltage, but I just want to show you, I'm going to do a heavy retreat cost of 2 here. And I want to show you how to just utilize all your Pokemon. You definitely wouldn't want to pay that retreat cost. You just want to keep swinging with that huge damage, but we're on our 3-point turn, so I'm going to go ahead and use Turning Point. We could have used Charging Up, but there's really no need. Okay, we did that, did 160 damage because we were on our 3-prize turn. 2 prize cards left. Let's see what our opponent's going to do here. Just going to attach, and they have no more bench Pokemon, so that means, folks, we have just won the game. We're going to go ahead and retreat because it's only doing 80 damage. It's not enough. He's got 90 HP. We won't be able to do the full 160 because we're not on 3 prizes anymore. We're going to go ahead and Lost Voltage. So there's still Lightning Energy in the Lost Zone here. And just like that, folks, we've won the game. Just like that, we benched them out essentially because they had nothing else to promote after knocking out a Pokemon. So there it is, folks. That's how you play Pokemon the card game. There are other little nuances like I talked about that you haven't seen yet, like GXs. Let's go ahead and take a look and see what a GX card looks like. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. So this is a GX. You see, it has a GX, and it's really shiny. What I like to tell new players is when you see a really shiny card, that is basically a card that will give you more prize cards. So if you take a look at the bottom here, when your tag team is knocked out, your opponent takes 3 prize cards. 3! But it's going to be kind of challenging, right? Because this thing has 270 HP, unlike the 90 HP we've been dealing with. And this thing's going to be doing tons of damage as well. So this thing does 40 damage to any of your opponent's Pokemon. So it doesn't need to be the active. You can do 40 anywhere you want. For a Psychic, a Fighting, and a Colorless, Calamitous Slash does 160 damage. And if your opponent's active Pokemon already has any damage counters on it, it does 80 more damage. So 240. Basically, it's going to do more than 240, right? Because there'd have to be damage counters on a Pokemon. And you can see very nicely this linear attack helps you set up the Calamitous Slash. And then it has a GG End, which is the GX attack that I told you. You can only use one of these per game. It says discard one of your opponent's Pokemon and all cards attached to it. And if this Pokemon has at least 3 extra fighting energy, so a ton of energy on this guy, you get to discard 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. So if, for example, you couldn't knock out your opponent's active Pokemon, let's say there was a Garchomp Giratina GX in your active spot, and there was a Garchomp Giratina GX on your opponent's active, you could, and you had the GG End, and there was nobody had any other bench Pokemon. You could basically, if you had the energy for that GG End attack, you can go ahead and just discard your opponent's active Pokemon, and you won the game, right? They have no more Pokemon to promote. So but you don't get any prize cards. That's not knocking out. That's discarding. It's different. So that, you know what, guys, that's pretty much it. We talked a little bit. There's other things that have to do with like status conditions. There's other types of GX cards that just give up 2 prizes, but that is it. That is pretty much how to play Pokemon. If you have any questions whatsoever, let me know in the comments. I will be happy to answer. There might be part 2, maybe part 3. I don't know what other Pokemon stuff you guys want to see. Let me know. Let me know in the comments what you'd like to see. I can definitely do some more stuff. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. Also, I'm going to mention that caveat again. This video, when it's being recorded, the rules might change. So make sure you're checking out the rules online, either on Pokemon's website or here. But that's, the way you play Pokemon really hasn't changed ever since the beginning. You've always had Pokemon to play, you've always had trainers to play, and you've always had energy to play. There just might be a little differences in what you can and can't play. For example, a new rule being able to play a supporter on your first turn. That's a recent rule that was just put into action, that the first player going first can't play a supporter. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Really appreciate you watching, checking out the channel. Please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, I'll see you in the next one. Peace!